What's going on, everybody? This is episode 721 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And I talked about Atlanta for about the past 5 episodes. And I'm going to continue to do it on this one. If you see the title, if you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, you can see this what's on the screen. And Georgia Southern, we're going to talk about them later on in the week. Look like Georgia Southern is going to be looking pretty good against Ohio because a lot of their players have moved into the transfer portal. Maybe we could walk back home with the Myrtle Beach bowl trophy. The Myrtle Beach belt. It's crazy, right? Anyway, we're going to talk about Coach Arthur Smith. Is it time to move on? And I'll be honest with you, I feel like it's time to move. It's no other way around it at this point. So let's get into it. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. Also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I could be found on Twitter at VFBaller, or X if you want to call it. And also my website is firstandframerates.com. Over there you will find a couple of links, and also you can go to the donate button where you can hit the Cash App, or the PayPal link is down below in the description. First, I'll say this, full disclosure. It's just my opinion. Obviously, most of the stuff on this show is my opinion. And I know it's not going to happen right away. It's not going to happen during the season. They still got 4 games left, and they have a possibility to win the division, believe it or not. They win 4 games, they're shoo-in. A couple things go their way, they can still win a division. But I think it's time to move on for Arthur Smith. Episode 700, I talked about the fact that I checked out on Arthur Smith. I don't think he's going to be the guy that can lead this team any further to where they are. You loaded this team up this season with a lot of talent based on the time you had a lot of cap space. And the team, all in all, if you really look at this team, this is a really good looking team on paper. This is not a bad team. Even with the Desmond Ridder debate, I still think this is a really good team. And for us to find ways to lose games in some of the worst ways, and what happened this past Sunday, it wasn't your typical Falcons loss. This one was a game where you saw the players themselves, particularly one in particular, really tried to make it known that they wanted to win this game. And I feel like at the end of the day, it all falls on the coach. It falls on the coach at the end of the day that either he's not drawn up the plays properly, or he just doesn't have the motivation to give these players, or he just doesn't have it to get these guys over the hump. And it's very disheartening, but he's had 3 years now. It's going on 3 years that he's been here. If you want to say the other 2 years was not necessarily his fault and he did the best he can, I will give you that. I think he has. But you're getting the same results with better talent. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the quarterback situation, Matt Ryan and Desmond Ridder, that's debatable, because of the fact that Matt Ryan did look good in the last year at Atlanta. It was not necessarily something that will set the world on fire, which, to be honest, I would love to have Matt Ryan in his office now, but that's a whole different story. But I just feel like this situation, the way that it's panned out, I just don't see it getting any better under the tutelage of Coach Arthur Smith. I also feel that the fact that we got a coach first before we got a GM was kind of backwards. A lot of people blame Rich McKay for that, and I get it. I mean, it's absolutely warranted to blame him for that, because usually the GM and the head coach goes hand in hand. If you saw Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn, say what you want about that team or that duo, but they got a team to the Super Bowl, and their contracts basically lined up together to make things happen. Once Dan Quinn was out, Thomas Dimitroff was eventually let go as well, and then you turn around and you bring in Terry Fontenot after you hire Coach Arthur Smith. I think Terry Fontenot would love to get his own coach in-house. And it's not to say that he and Coach Arthur Smith are at odds or whatever. I think they have the same mindset, but for the fact that he was brought in afterwards, it doesn't create the dynamic that you will have if you brought some guys in at the same time, or if you let the GM pick his own coach. That it's just a different dynamic when you have that, that type of linkage. Now, what what would you do at this point now? Like, do you give Coach Arthur Smith a 4-game tryout or a 4-game audition to see if you want this job to be extended? You want another year? I don't even know what his contract is for. I'm not even gonna look it up because I'm not trying to get into all that because coaches get fired every day. You know what I mean? They call it what the Black Monday when coaches get up out of there. So, do they give him a 4-game window to say like, look, you go 4-0, we may keep you around. You go 3-1, we probably keep you around. Hell, if you make the playoffs, we may keep you around. You know what I'm saying? It is what do Terry Fontenot do? Do Terry Fontenot and Coach Arthur Smith get together and try to, not Coach Arthur Smith, the owner Arthur Blank get together and try to make something happen? Did Rich McKay has any say in this? It creates a weird dynamic at this point because now Rich McKay hired, he put in place to hire Coach Arthur Smith. Terry Fontenot comes in after the fact. Who Rich McKay like? Who do you side with? It's kind of weird. I don't think this is anything. It's not a problem with Terry Fontenot. I think Terry Fontenot's done a phenomenal job of helping bringing talent in here. I think the fact that they got together and fixed this cap space and they were able to bring talent in and actually put a good product out on the field. I'm not saying that, like I said, the team is not bad. I think the leadership is just not there to make things happen for this team going forward. I just don't see it. What would I like to see? I would like to see Coach. No, I ain't gonna say. I would like to see Terry Fontenot bring his coach in and actually find a way to get this team in a different direction that is going to be more aggressive. They're going to be. I just don't know how to explain. For one thing, I do want the team to be more aggressive. I do. I don't. I mean, I think we got a little bit of that with what's our defensive coordinator name? I can't remember his name. It just slips my mind that quick. But you see it on that end as far as the nastiness of those guys are really trying to get at the offense, the opposition. The defense is actually trying to make some things happen. You look at the offense for what it is. You got some guys that are just bona fide nasty like Chris Lindstrom and Bergeron. I don't think you got that dog in them like the rest of them. I mean, I think the Bergeron and Lindstrom cancel everyone else out when it comes to them collectively being a nasty group of people. Now you got a lot of, you got a little bit of fight in the running game. I mean, these are guys that are just hard to take down. I don't think they're as aggressive, but just like late in the game, they just look really aggressive. But the wide receivers, the aggressiveness just comes from Drake London for the most part. I want a team to be, I mean, they're almost there, but I want it to be a little bit more nastier that really show that they want it, And I'm not saying that they don't. Maybe they do. They're just not put in a position to be that team. And it starts with the coach. I don't know if any of that made sense. If it didn't, please let me know. Because, I mean, it's just a lot of, I mean, we were a ridiculously soft team at one point. You seen what Helms did to that guy that played for the Saints. I mean, yeah, he got a flag for it, but I like stuff like that. I want teams to know that we're not going to get pushed around. Do I want them to get penalties? No, but I want people to know that we're not going to be pushed around. You're not about to punk Drake London. This dude's going to, I want him to get better and better. That he won 100 yards every game. Dude have 172. I want him to see him get at least 125 every game or strive to get that every game. I want to see Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier just go all out, especially when they know that there's something to play for. CP Cordell Patterson, he has his moments, but I don't want to expect him to do too much. He's a little up there in age, so I don't expect him to do too much. Kind of like the Calais Campbell type of deal. I want him to go all out too, but I know he's a little older. I don't want you to go out there and like really do too much. But Caden Ellis, like I like that. Nate Landman, I like that. David Arnemeyer, he's injured, but I like that. Landman's injured too, but those guys go all out. And like I said, that defensive side of the ball, you see it. You starting to see it, but not so much on the offense. You have your moments, but I would like a coach to come in that will really have that hunger, that want this team, that get these guys in shape or get these guys into shape that they want it just as bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't think Arthur Smith has that in him. Maybe I see something different. I know he's a different guy when he's not in front of the microphone. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about completely, but the results just don't show it. These guys, and I don't want to talk about the quarterback in this episode. I don't, because a lot of people link the quarterback and the coach together. I don't want to do that in this episode. I just don't. But it is what it is. I mean, I can go on a whole nother episode when it comes to the quarterback. But I just feel like it's time for us to get another coach. I really believe that. And I mean, it's not a knock on Coach Arthur Smith completely. I just don't think he has what it takes to get above average. I mean, he's like, he's below average. I mean, literally, you look at his record, 7-10, 7-10, and if we don't look out, we could be another 7-10 team. That's below average. That's not even average is 9-8, 8-9. He's not even there. He's below that. So I feel that it's time to make that move. I know they're not going to make it at the end of at this point of the season. You may not even make it at the end of the season. But I feel like Terry Fontenot need to bring his guy in. And if you know the type of guy that Terry Fontenot's been when he was under the Saints had a more of an aggressive style offense until, Drew Brees couldn't throw no more. But there was a more of aggressive style team. You look at the defensive coordinator, when Greg Williams and all them other guys was around, look who was under him. Our defensive coordinator, I think he was around at that time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, whatever the case may be. But he had guys in place. The Saints had guys in place to be a very aggressive team and didn't care to go downfield on you at any time. And I see that we're trying that a little bit, but I think it's almost a little bit too little too late, because it was at one point that Coach Arthur Smith just did not want to throw the ball. I mean, I understand you had Marcus Mariota, but even with Desmond Ridder, he was kind of hesitant. Now he's starting to do it a little bit, but it might be too little too late. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Am I tripping? I don't know what I'm talking about. Please let me know. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I think it's time to move on, everybody. I think it's time to move on. I think it's time to go ahead and try to get us another coach for next season. I've been checked out on him 20 episodes ago. 20 episodes ago, I was done with Coach Arthur Smith, and they're saying it's not that I think he's a bad coach. He's not going to get us where we need to go. I will be extremely surprised if I've been proven wrong. But after 3 years, I really don't see it. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can find me on X at VF Baller. The website is firstandframeraise.com. If you want to donate to the show, CashApp and PayPal links are below. And I'm out of here, man. We'll probably talk some Georgia Southern tomorrow unless something comes up. But that's pretty much it. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.